I've been doing sit-ups. I've been doing chin-ups. I've been doing pull-ups. I threw up once, but I'm okay now.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to a Thursday edition of the Ysn Power Hour. Typically not on Thursdays because of Ysn Primetime, but everybody kind of looked at the weather, even though it's not awful. It's not awful. Everybody kind of looked at the weather and said, yeah, we're not going to – everybody's worried about rain. Everybody's worried about the cold. They're trying to get their kids in. I get it. I understand it. And with all the YSN live froms, I guess that's the best way to put it, as of late, I'm not against it. Get to take a quote-unquote night off, but that will be picked up quickly with dad duty, as my wife is she's trying to get over a little bit of a cold. Not that you need to know about the Oakley house, but I hope you understand it. If you're a dad or you're a parent and you understand when your kids go back to school, the sickness that just is on rotation is absolutely crazy. And that's what we're dealing with right now. So I know she's excited that she can kind of kick her feet up a little bit, watch the little one while I take the Z-Man to practice and have a quote unquote night off, which we all know if you're a parent, you understand those nights off are not really nights off. So excited for a lot of stuff going on right now on YSN. The biggest I want to tell you about before we get to starting the show is the brand spanking new and will always be under construction. Probably going to be one of the highest visited parts of our site from here forward is the Scoreboard Page. So if you go on ysnlive.com right now, literally right now, you look at, we've taken a little bit of cleaning. It's not spring cleaning, it's fall cleaning, I guess. Right next to the live games tab, you can see the Scoreboard Page. And if you go to the Scoreboard Page, it will have a daily recap, as well as you can go back and look at the scores from last night, from earlier in the week. It'll be updated weekly. Quinn Pushkar, Brian Scott, the co-founder of the company and the assistant general manager, of course, QP, did an excellent job with this, and it's up and running. You can see the scores from last night. We used to have what we call Score Stream, a partnership with them. Since it was a little bit challenging sometimes because we didn't have kind of a finger on the pulse of being able to change it and things of that nature, we decided to pull the trigger on the scoreboard. So if you go to the ysnlive.com/score, the scores will be updated and on Fridays, it's very special because you'll be able to go to that page and have it updated at the drop of a hat. Excuse me. Excuse me. It'll be real-time scoring on Friday nights. So for those of you who like scores, you'll be able to go to ysnlive.com/score and get them in real time and get them from the actual source where most people get them from us anyway. They're watching the game or having 5-10 games up, and they'll take our scores from our games and they'll put them on their website. So now we're just cutting out the middleman, and there you go. So the scores page now available on ysnlive.com/score. So we're excited about that. A lot we're excited about. Brian Tonar is going to join the show here in about 10 minutes or so, and he's going to talk golf sectionals from yesterday. I can't wait to talk to him. When you're talking golf, it's nice to have the guru at your quote-unquote disposal, and a guy that is so amped up to talk golf and the locals that did so well yesterday. Listen, I told him, I said, I'm flying blind on this. So I call him the senator sometimes because he's always just amazing. He's the kind of man that I want to be. And he's going to lead us through all the golf sectional scores from yesterday, who's on fire, who to look out for as they move towards the next round. So Brian Tonar, our golf professional, our golf hero, I guess, the guru, will be joining us here in just a few minutes. But before that, we get to On This Day in Sports History. Here we go. All right, so this one I thought was real interesting because especially everybody talks about the butt punt from it's just fun to say, butt punt, from this Sunday. The Dolphins and the Bills going at it. And the punter was backed up in his own end zone. The protection backed up when he should have been pushing forward, and he got kicked right in the dupa with the football. So I bet there's a little bit of bruising on that. But on this day in sports history, in 1969, Steve O'Neill of the New York Jets kicks the longest NFL punt in history against the Denver Broncos. Anybody have a guess of what it was? Just a flat out guess. 98 yards. This cat kicked it 98 yards down the field for an NFL record. I don't know too many punt, pass, and kick competitions. I've been in a few. Used to love PPKs. But if somebody walked up and booted it 98 yards in a punt, pass, and kick competition, I'm leaving. I'm out. I'm just deucing. I'm out of there. See ya. It was a good run. 98 yards. I mean, you talk about flipping the field. And I wonder if it was a corner kick. I'd have to do some more research. Was it a corner kick? Was it downed at the one? You know, that's incredible. 98-yard punt. That would get your defense excited. I'm sure that would get your defense excited. But on this day in sports history in 1969, Steve O'Neill of the Jets kicks the longest NFL punt recorded, 98 yards against the Denver Broncos. All right, so what do we have to talk about today? Obviously, we're going to talk about golf here in a little bit. We talked about, you like this? Steve Ocano says he likes the hat. This is a hat that's been in the closet for a long time. This was I'll give you a quick story before we get started. This was a hat where I was a diehard Indians fan. Victor Martinez was my guy. It was my ride or die. He was, a scrapper. I got so many autographs from Victor Martinez still to this day. One of them hangs in my home, a picture my mom was able to get for me through an auction. And when they traded Victor Martinez, your boy was done. I'd had it. Albert Bell was gone. Albert Bell was my guy when I was growing up. The Tomey situation where he walked away. I'm reliving it. It's like baseball karma right now. But when I jumped off the Indians bandwagon after they traded my favorite player, I said I was going to be a Red Sox fan. I was like, I'm in on the Sox, man. So I went and got the Boston B hat, and I got this hat, which I thought was still is one of the best hats in all of the league. They don't wear it, I don't think, anymore. It might be a batting practice cap or something along those lines, but still love the logo, the Sox logo, still one of my favorites. And that was about the time where the Sox were, really good, like world champion good in 2004. When I was explaining baseball to the love of my life, my beautiful wife, and she had no clue, but she loved watching it because I was trying to explain it and be all manly and all that stuff and tell her how baseball is played. But thank you very much. I appreciate the love for the hat today. I try to keep you guys guessing on what's going on, and I've got a lot of hats and a lot of shirts to choose from. So appreciate you when you see that. So where was I going? Now I'm all messed up. Talking golf here in about 5 minutes. We talked about the power rankings again, and right now on ysnlive.com, there are a couple great interviews. There's a lot of great interviews, but right now on ysnlive.com, the Vinnie Malone interview and Coach Manuel interview from Louisville. Very impressed with those guys. I mean, what an unbelievable interview by our own Ian O'Brien, who stepped up in a big situation and interviewed probably the most popular name in all of Northeast Ohio right now, outside of the Cleveland Guardians, and probably more popular than the Cleveland Browns, to be quite honest with you, is Vinnie Malone. And it was a great interview. What I was most impressed with about Vinnie was his ability to push aside the questions that were solely about him and focus on the team. And I think that's big, especially for a young man that's being recruited at this time. I think coaches see that and they grow fond of that situation. If you have a guy that's willing to, because listen, quarterbacks, running backs, skilled positions, they get all the love throughout the week. They get all the press. They get all, O-linemen, tight ends. Those are the guys that don't get near the credit they deserve. But Vinny had a way of kind of shifting the focus off of him, which has been, limelight, put that slider to the top. 9 touchdowns 2 weeks ago, probably, most likely, could break the record this week if he wanted to, if that's something that's in the playbook, so to speak. It's a tough Sebring team. Again, another tough year for the Trojans. Do the Rockets want to do that? Do they want to draw attention to that? For me, it's nothing against Sebring. That's a varsity football team. I'll tell you where I stand. My team got beat 70-some points a few years ago in a rivalry game. We saw a 64-6 game last week. I'm going to be dead honest with you. And this is something that I'm going to put you guys on watch for tomorrow. You're going to have to go to that. Well, you can watch the game live, but you can go to that score page. And the constant argument is and will always be, where is the line between just enough points and too many points, and when you're quote-unquote running up the score? I'm going to be honest, in varsity athletics, I don't believe in it. I don't believe in it. Because at the end of the day, for me, if you're putting varsity athletes on the field, you're saying that we're lining up against you, our best against your best, and let's go. Now, if it's 70-0 after the first quarter, you're probably going to see reserves. You're probably going to, you're going to see that. There's identification, right? There's that. But when I see a score where it's 60-0, let's say, tell me the story. Why is it 60-0? How many turnovers are we seeing in that game? Are they passing? Are they running? Is one team squawking at the other one? Because I got to be honest with you guys. If you're out there listening, you probably know, if you talk and you're down by 50, they're probably going to score on you again. And they're not going to feel bad about it. Sometimes you got to grab that humble pie and take a big old bite. Sometimes you got to take a bite out of that crap sandwich and learn to like the taste of it. If you're putting something out there, and let me tell you, social media is a monster. We've talked about this before. Social media is an absolute monster. If you're putting stuff out there, airing grievances, it's not Festivus. If you're talking crap, if you're talking trash on another team, on another school, on another player, I'm at the point where I don't feel bad for you. I saw some stuff last week that I hope I never see again. I hope I never see it again. Kids, this is going to sound crazy, And I know it's a lot easier said than done, but kids need to have their social media profiles, whatever they may be. And trust me, there's probably a few of them out there. They need monitored. Parents need to take a stand and say, hey, what are you doing here? Kids are cruel. I mean, they are. It's not easy growing up in high school. It's not easy being in middle school. It's not easy being in elementary school. But the adults in the room, whether it be coaches or mentors or guardians or parents, have to take a stand. And I'm not saying penalize or ground kids or hold them out. But I think it's interesting nowadays that we're so quick to pass the buck to the other side. And you probably don't know the story, and Brian will join us here in a second. But I gotta tell you, if you're on social media and another team finds that you're talking trash about their player or their guy or their coach or somebody in their community, and you get beat by 70, that bone isn't in my body anymore that I feel bad for you. It's just not, because you brought it on yourself. I mean, if you're in a bar after you turn 21 and you try to hit on somebody's wife and you say something, you're probably going to get punched in the face. And when you get knocked out, I don't have that bone in my body that I feel bad for you. Shoot your shot, go ahead, but understand that sometimes you get swatted back in your face like Shaquille O'Neal. We'll talk about this more in a little bit, but right now we bring on my guy, the guru of golf in the area, that my hero personally and professionally, my guy, Brian Tonar. Brian, how are you?
Good, DJ. How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. Better now because you're here. It's been a while since we got to sit down and break some bread.
Absolutely. It's been too long.
I know. Well, we'll be out there next week. I'm excited about that. Can we start this off by you explaining the Project Hope that you guys, this is the second year for it, correct?
Yeah, this will be the second year that we've done it here at Mill Creek. I've had the opportunity to run it at Blue Heron Hills up in New York. Had the opportunity to start the Rochester's wing of it. But PGA Hope stands for Helping Our Patriots Everywhere. Gives the veterans, whether you're active, non-active, or retired, an opportunity to come out and learn the game of golf in a nice, fun, and relaxing setting. And it's one of the flagship programs of the PGA America. At the time when we started this last year, we were one of two in the state of Ohio, us and Clearview Hope. A good friend of ours, Renee Powell, does the same version at her golf course in the Akron-Canton area. So it's nice to be able to add one of these to our state and our region. However, we've added two more since then. So it's great to see it going like gangbusters here in Ohio. And little known fact is, Ohio has the most veterans in it post wartime at 660 some thousand. Wow. Talking to the folks at PGA Hope. So you would think a place like California, North Carolina that has big time Army bases or military divisions in them would have like the most population of veterans, and it's actually Ohio.
That's amazing. That's a great stat, my friend. Another great stat is you guys, it sounds like you expanded it over a few days. We were there last year. It was awesome. A great event. Got to meet some of the veterans, the participants, thank them for their service. I actually got to step in, nobody asked me to, but I was just like, hey, there's a need. And I got to dish out some of the food and really have some great conversations with them, which was awesome. The expansion this year, you guys want to help as many and educate as many people as possible. We talked about it before. Your goal, number one, when we sat down and talked, was to grow the game of golf in this area in Ohio. Why is this project so special to you?
Well, it's special in two ways. Number one, it's a great way to thank our military veterans that give us the freedoms that we have on a daily basis. We get to come to these jobs and have a lot of fun. I know you have a lot of fun at your job, and I certainly do every day that I walk through the doors here at Mill Creek. To be able to play your sport as a career is something that I'm passionate about. It's not really been a job for me to be able to do this. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy coming to work. So, they're the ones that give us the freedoms and the opportunities to do that. So it's our way as PGA professionals, and it's our way in the local community to say thank you for all that you do when it comes to military veterans. And, number two, it helps us grow the game as well. So, we talked a little bit about it with all the programs that we do, Get Golf Ready is really getting people acclimated with the sport and the game of golf. And what we found from our program last year, we had about 32, I think, total in the program over the one-day pilot that we ran. This year's program is 3 days, so we have 36, and it sold out in about a week and a half very early on in the season. So with that in the waiting list, what we found with the last year's crew that came in, a lot of those guys are now playing in leagues out here. They're now playing in senior leagues. They're now playing in our active leagues Monday through Friday, and they're playing a lot more golf, and they're hitting a lot more golf balls on the driving range. So it gives them a place of solace and freedom to where they can come out and hit balls and in a nice relaxing setting. And you want to make it as accommodating to everybody in every background, every diversity as possible. And this is just another pathway to get there. So PGA Hope does a wonderful job, and we're proud to be part of it.
Oh, we are too, man. It's anytime that Brian Tonar says, hey, can I do this? Or can you guys, we're in. Always in. We're always excited about it, especially today. I get a text message in the middle of Running Point says, hey, you want to talk golf? Dude, that is a no-brainer 10 times out of 10. You want to talk these kids that were in the sectionals and kind of give them a little bit of love. I told you, I'm flying blind, so you're going to have to help me. I'll have questions for you, but tell me who kind of stood out to you yesterday.
Well, I think you had 2 or 3 sectionals yesterday, and if we'll start with the one that was held at the Elms in Massillon, and I've got the results here. The top 3 teams ended up getting a shot at going into the district, and the top 3 players individually as well. So, coming out on top at the Elms yesterday in the cold and the wind and the rain, a lot of the conditions that we talked about yesterday on Running Point with Anthony and the guys and Richie, is just, being prepared for the elements this time of year, because you're playing golf courses in much different conditions than you were all summer long when it's firm and fast. So coming out on top at the Elms was West Branch, a score of 321. Leading the team was Jackson Robb. Now, I know his dad a little bit when I was an assistant at Alliance Country Club many moons back, Scotty Robb. So to have him shoot 76, which was the low round of the event medalist, coming in at 76 is pretty darn important as an 11th grader. So in that 3-player spot. So they started off with a 76, a 77, 78. Caleb Votal comes in the 4th position at 90 to take a 23-shot lead over Marlington, who's very well coached. I know Coach Rick Snowd very well. His family owns Tannenhof Golf Course in Alliance. So, they've been synonymous. He's got a daughter that's a PGA professional that does a phenomenal job as well. Garrett Dillon and Connor Battershell led the team at 83 and 84 to finish a few shots back. And then edging in that 3rd spot was Akron Manchester at 346, with Brady Johnson leading with 80. And just out in the 4th spot is South Range, which I personally thought would do a very good job in getting in probably the 2nd or third spot. Players struggled just a little bit heading out, especially on the back 9. It seems like they had trouble on the back 9. Their front 9 was pretty good across the board. But individually, Ryan Dinian from Coventry, his dad's a golf professional, Northern Ohio section. David, very, very nice guy, tied with Brady Hahn from Akron Springfield and Jackson Robb from West Branch at 76. Had a little playoff for medalist, and Brady Hahn ended up taking the spot. And then rounding out that 3rd spot, because Jackson made it on his team, was Zach Hewson from CH Northwest with a score of 81. And he came in with a playoff win to secure that last spot to go to sectional. So, a lot of good scoring in the Division II at the Elms, which was the boys. And then we head on over to the other Division II, which was at Windmill Lakes, and a lot more familiar teams that we're used to talking about on a daily basis, some that play here and some that play locally as well over at Windmill Lakes.
So you got to help me with this, because I think, and you can confirm or deny this, when 2020 happened, all that that stuff, right? The pandemic, we've talked about how big golf has become, not only in this valley, but in the country. These scores are out of this world. Some of these guys, it's become really, really competitive, especially this year, as we look at those scores and we look at some of these players that continue to get better and better. You're talking about juniors, not just seniors. You're talking about juniors and underclassmen that have really stepped up in leadership positions on these golf teams.
Well, that's what you're going to find a lot. We'll do Division II and Division III, especially. The underclassmen really led their schools the opportunity to play at districts and shot probably the best scores in the third one that we'll go over of the two of the three that happened yesterday for the northeastern part of our region, which is the majority of our teams here. But I mean, the scoring from top to bottom and being able to play in the conditions that are unlike what the kids normally play in throughout the entire summer. I mean, these kids have practiced and played in a very firm and fast golf course pretty much everywhere that they played, all over, whether it's northeastern Ohio or western Pennsylvania. So to be able to transition yourself into golf courses that have had 2, 3, 4, and 5 inches of rain over the past 2-3 weeks is really turning the needle and being able to adjust and adapt to the conditions, because it's not the golf course you played and practiced on over the summer, and you really have to change your thought process when you're going out to play, and the clubs that you select in the holes too, because the ball's just not flying as far as it did in the summer when the heat is out.
When you look at those teams, is there one team that's impressed you more than any other ones on that list?
Well, obviously South Range not making it. I've been impressed with them all year, but the top three at West Branch, I mean, to shoot that, I mean, you've got obviously 2 seniors there and a junior, but you're 4 and 5 or 10th graders to hang in there and just get enough on the board to get it done. And then when you head into Windmill Lakes and the results from over there, Ursuline played probably as consistent as they have all year, and it's no shocker that they won the Windmill Lakes sectional by 20 shots over Streetsboro. I think, having Nolan Freilich shoots 83 to lead the team, Tony Pesa and Keegan Thornton shoot 84, and then Chase Forsyth rounds out at 91. Streetsboro shoots 2 rounds of 85 to shoot 362, and Poland slides in there at 366. Now, I had a toss-up between Poland and Hubbard for that third spot, and I had them flipped in what I projected. But I mean, they're only 2 shots apart. So I mean, that's one hole with one bad score that really bumps you out. Poland coming in fourth or coming in third and edging out Hubbard at 368 to 366. Michael Chambers, 11th grader, shot well there. But I mean, a team that DiGiacomo played a lot of his seniors. He's played a lot of sophomores and juniors and freshmen throughout the course of the year. So it's a little bit of a different lineup change for him, but played well in the conditions and got the job done. And the unique thing with, Ursuline coming out of there victoriously at Windmill Lakes is they'll play the district there next week. So they're going to play the same golf course. It's almost like you had a practice round and another practice round before you got to districts. And to be able to win that sectional by 20, if you shoot a pretty good score kind of around right where they're at, they're going to have an opportunity to go to state very easily.
So we've had some great golfers come through this area. 2 of the ones that have been in the YSN era, Jake Silac and Michael Porter, that really, both on the YSU golf team right now. Can you point to maybe 1, 2, 3 golfers that you're really expecting a lot of, maybe them playing at the next level that really stepped up to I don't know, stepped up to the plate. He stepped up to the tee and drove it right down the fairway yesterday?
Well, I think you take, from Division II, Chase Cognac from Struthers was the individual medalist for the entire tournament. So he's going on as an individual. His teammate, Chance Lasco, shoots 80 as well. He got beaten in the playoff by his own teammate. So they're both going as individuals. And then Kenny Williams from Champion, although he didn't shoot his best, he shot 85. He went as an individual. But I think if you look at Chase Cognac, I think he's 2-sport athlete, obviously great football player at Struthers. What he does on the golf course, and I've got to see him play at a lot of the tournaments Preston played, because he played in the older division of the U.S. Kids events that Preston was playing. So I got to see him, got to see his dad, and got to see some of the scores he was posting throughout the summer. So I think he's going to be there. He's very steady. He doesn't shoot super low, but he doesn't shoot high. I mean, he's going to be very consistent in a 4 to 3 shot window with every round that he's going to tee it up. And I think that consistency lends itself to the opportunity to put yourself in good position to make it to state. And then I think when you talk about, guys from top to bottom that I think can go the next level and will go the next level, I think you take the top 3 guys at Cardinal Mooney. And that brings us into Salem Hills, obviously Division III boys, 3 teams qualified there as well. But I mean, Mooney comes in second at 315. 72, 71, 80, and 92. Now, their tough spot for them is that 4 or 5 position, just because they had 2 girls playing in the lineup that were holding those spots. So now the girls shift over to Pine Lakes today. So they'll have the opportunity to qualify on the girls' side. That means some other upperclassmen have to jump up and get in there and play well. So, Tim Reardon played well, shot 92, did what he was supposed to do to get him in there for that 4th spot for Coach Bellino's team. Just being edged out by Mogador by 3 shots. I mean, Alex Eckstein, freshman, 71, under par. Rocco Turner, 72, even par. His brother Dante, another freshman, 70. I mean, it's crazy what those kids are doing.
And we know Rocco very well, multi-sport athlete, basketball player. Yep. And, it's hard for these kids because they've got to pick. And I'm not saying golf isn't a mainstream sport, but in high school, it's kind of a secondary sport.
Yep.
And these kids are going to be courted, I think, by golf coaches at the next level. And, from your standpoint, how do they kind of balance that? How do they weigh that out and say, if you're getting a little bit to go play basketball, or let's say a full scholarship to go play golf, in the world that we live in, which the main sports are highlighted more than the other ones, how do you make that decision, as a 18-year-old, 17-year-old, that a mature adult goes, well, that's why they made it. You're going full ride.
I think you look at it a couple different ways. Number one, what sport are you the most passionate about? And number two, don't make the decision until, the end of your junior year. If you're going to concentrate on one sport from that point on, I still think you play both sports your senior year, unless you get a golf coach that tells you not to, but I would be shocked if you did, because you're still developing muscles, and you want those other sports to help you build and help you grow, from a body perspective and as an athlete. It gives you that endurance. Plus, we have a little bit of a disadvantage here, living in the, Northeast, that you're basically not going to play that much golf in January and February. March is kind of dicey. December is kind of dicey. So you do put your clubs up. You can hit balls indoors all that you want. It's still not going to give you the advantage of somebody being able to play down south or out west 12 months out of the year. I mean, you're going to have that rust in early spring because you're not hitting off of soft conditions, firm conditions. You're hitting off a mat that's the same every single time. But that's great with irons. That's great with full swing. It's the short game. In 50 yards and in is where you're doing the majority of your scoring and getting up and down and saving those pars and, trying to eliminate a high number. And that's what we have, just because we live in the Northeast, we have a little bit of a disadvantage when it comes to that. You can still practice and play. And that's where I think that secondary sport is great for a golfer, whether it's playing basketball in the off season or wrestling or whatever sport that you pick up, during the winter when golf season's over, when you're basically sitting dormant. You can still hit balls, but you still want to be fresh. You still want to be limber. You still want to be mentally focused. I mean, there's nothing that gives you more mental focus than sports, whether it's being on the golf course, the basketball court, the football field, the baseball diamond, all of it. You're focused and you're acclimated to what's going on. And I think that really translates into a high school athlete trying to take it at the next level. That's why I say, wait till your beginning of your senior year, after your junior year, to figure out which one that you want to go for, and then put all your eggs in that basket when it comes time for a scholarship. But from that point on, I'm very big on playing multiple sports. I think you have to develop.
I agree with you wholeheartedly, my friend. The other thing, the last question I have for you is, have any of these kids come up and talk to you about Tonar's tips? Because I've had so many people reach out about these tips that they're like, he's just giving away lessons on 2 minutes at a time.
You know what? We've created a big buzz here, not only with the kids, but the league golfers that play that have seen them. And, I talked to a lot of high school golf coaches that are playing them for their team in the off season in their hitting rooms. And they're like, we always look up on YouTube and try to find somebody teaching chipping, putting, pitching. And they're like, we like the fact that you guys did them there at YSN because we know you guys. You guys are local and we understand you guys. We've known you guys, and we just assume push everybody towards, YSN and what you guys are doing there at Mill Creek. So that's great to hear on that side that, a lot of people are taking these to fruition. I mean, they're free tips. And I think it's fabulous that people are doing it. It's something that I've wanted to do a long time, and just, without the opportunity with YSN Live, really didn't have the opportunity. So it's nice to be able to do that and create what we've created together. and the partnership that we've had since day one of getting together and talking through a couple things and throwing some ideas out there. And you throw them against the board and whatever sticks, but it's great to hear the good response on the back end.
There's a lot of sticking right now, man. And there's the best is yet to come, I'm sure. Brian, thanks for taking some time out of your day. Again, shining such a great light on these kids, these golfers. And we look forward to maybe next week you'll pop by, a little double duty next week.
You got it. I want to give a shout out to my man, Jackson Ensley. He was probably one of the juniors that we had 8 years ago in our junior camps for my first 2 years here, now playing at Springfield, qualified with 77 to take the spot at Springfield for the last spot to get out at Salem Hills. So great to see Jackson. He played on the PGA junior team here and at the Lake Club. We had him on our team, and then he was a member out there and played on the Lake Club's team. So nice to be able to see some local kids that were in our junior programs now working their way up. So it's pretty cool.
Oh, I can't wait. This is only going to grow further and further, and you're a big part of it, man. So thank you for all you do. Congratulations, Jackson. And Brian, can't wait to see you next week for sure.
Kudos to you guys for taking golf under your wing. It's great to see golf getting a little PR.
Well, it's easy with a guy like you, B. Thank you very much, brother. Have a great rest of your day.
You too. Thank you.
There he goes, Brian Tonar. I love that guy. Like it's such a bromance for Brian. First off, like we're gonna have to put Richie and I joke about it all the time. We're gonna put a mustache on him and take him to some of our different scrambles, and he's gonna be trying Bolnar. So we're gonna win one day. I swear to you, we're gonna win one. We're all getting better because of Brian. That's 100% certainty. At least on the 18th hole, where I'm bad for 17, and then the 18th gets me just enough to come back the next day and not want to throw my clubs into a lake. My very pretty clubs, by the way. We're going to take a break. When we come back, more to talk about. We're also going to have, you know what? We'll roll right to it. Mineral Ridge Coach's Corner with Brian Shaner when we come back on the Ysn Power Hour right after this.
Locally owned and operated, Sheely's relaxed shopping experience means browsing and lounging is always encouraged.
Find Flex Deal and more at Sheely's Furniture and Appliance, because the best things in life happen at home.
How lucky are we to have not one, but two 18-hole Donald Ross Championship golf courses right here in our backyards. Mill Creek Golf Course was selected by Golf Week as one of America's 30 best municipal courses, continuing to challenge golfers of all levels and featuring golf instruction by PGA professionals, a state-of-the-art practice range, a PGA of America recognized pro shop, kids programs, and a relaxing grill room for a memorable golf experience. For more information or to schedule a tee time, visit millcreekmetroparks.org.
Fall is in the air. The kids are back to school, crowds are cheering for the home team, and Myers Family Insurance is prepped for another crazy Medicare season. Every year there's changes, some big, some small, so it's important to have a conversation to make sure your plan is going to meet your expectations for the coming year. Give our team a call today to schedule your annual review.
For all your Medicare needs, call Myers Family Insurance or visit us on the web. Check us out online at myersfamilyins.com.
Going from mindful to mindful sometimes requires a helping, healing hand. Insight Clinical Counseling and Wellness offers a continuum of mental health and wellness care. At Insight, we're changing the way you receive counseling and wellness services with experienced licensed clinicians and expertly trained wellness staff. With 4 locations in Mahoning and Columbiana County, along with telehealth services, Insight offers clients quick access to care when they need it. Transform your mental health and wellness at Insight Clinical Counseling and Wellness.
Welcome back into YSN Live. I'm Jake Silac here tonight in Mineral Ridge at the Post Office Pub for our Coach's Corner interview with head coach of the Rams, Brian Shaner. Brian, thanks for coming on.
Hey, thank you guys for being here. It's a great place to hang out. And, anytime we get to talk about these guys, I get pretty fired up for it.
Absolutely. So just to kick it off, I just wanted to ask you, if I would have told you at the beginning of the season, 6 games in, you're 5-1, what are you telling me?
Honestly, I'm going to tell you the possibilities there. We knew coming into this season, this was our season. This was our group of guys, and I don't know if many coaches in the area could look you in the eye and say with only 5 seniors that you're going to be able to do this. But the leadership we have with these seniors and and the approach they took in the offseason, I would tell you it's a definite possibility. You know, we play in a pretty good league. There's a lot of parity there, but again, with this group of guys and the dedication they have, I'd have been all in on it.
Yeah, it's awesome. You know, we're talking about all season long. We're talking about the offense. We're talking about, you know, Valley coming in, just, you know, guy that can throw the ball over the place, run the ball at the same time. But I really wanted to start tonight with something that doesn't get talked about a lot, but needs to be talked about more, and that's the defensive side of the football. I mean, you know, I know you. I never played underneath you, but I have a lot of friends that did. So they told me that defense is key for you. Your defense has only given up 61 points over 5 games, and 20 of those coming in one game. So, you know, the margin there is pretty good, and it's boosted you guys to 35th in Division 6. So what can you tell me about the defensive side of the football?
Well, if my coaches were sitting up here, they'd be saying, no way, his focus is offense, because we're kind of known as being an offensive kind of team and philosophy. But we knew coming into this year with all the guys we had back on defense, and I told our guys from day one, our bread and butter is going to be the defense. They're going to buy in. They're going to do it a certain way. You know, Coach Allen came over from Poland to help us out on the defensive side of the ball and bring a little bit different demeanor over there. You know, I say he's a bear because he brings a lot of tough love to these guys, and they bought in right away. And we play a different style. And I think I learned that being over at reserve as an assistant for a year, and I knew the league. And, you know, in the MVAC, if you play really solid defense and you're really aggressive and you want to hit, you give yourself a chance, and that's what our boys do. I mean, I don't know anyone that's played us that ever left us that says, man, Middle Ridge don't hit, because that's what we do. We train a different way. We coach them a different way. Our boys are very receptive to hard coaching. They know we love them, you know, and that's the key. Yeah. But there are some rough times on that field and in the locker room, but they get it. You know, we want them to play a certain style, and that's what we've been showing all year. It don't matter who you put in front of us. Our defense is always going to show up.
Yeah, definitely. And they have so far this season, like I said, giving up only 61 points to your 214 total points of offense over the 6 games. You know, we talked about the success that you guys have had so far this season. Obviously, you've been here. This is your 4th year. What about this team specifically, not as opposed to years past, but just what about this team specifically gives you guys all the confidence in the world that they're going to go out there, be successful, and get to that 5-1 record where we're at right now?
It's my seniors. You know, again, it's our 4th year. And, you know, they were freshmen when I came in, and, you know, to be around guys this long, and, you know, a lot of people preach family and they say family, but when we say it, we mean it. You know, when I have a 4-year starter like Nathan Rohrman, and I can have conversations with him, not just as a player, you've built that bond. You know, when you talk to Mason Miller about things outside of football, and Ben and G, you know, it is that family. There's no more getting to know each other. They know where I come from, and they know when I come down on them that I'm never going to leave that locker room or that office with them feeling that I did wrong by them, because I don't. I care about them. I love them to death. And then you throw Valley in this mix, who's just this workout juggernaut. He can't do enough for everybody. And the way he jumped in, you know, we had to pull the reins back on him. He wants to be so involved. And again, we are a small town and community. But I can genuinely tell you, when I say we're a family with this group of guys, we are, and you know, it's very, very special.
Absolutely, yeah, and you know, I'm sure you know better than anybody else that being that close to a team, it just makes all the difference in the world. So yeah, talking about, you know, a young team, not a young team, but, you know, more or less a young team, not a small team, but for high school football, obviously, you're looking at guys that are playing both ways.
Yeah,
only giving up that 61 points and still being able to put up 214 points on the offense. I mean, I've called your games all season long. I know that at least probably, I would say 65, 70% of your guys are both ways.
Yes.
How do you keep them motivated? How do you keep them going through those times where they're just gassed?
Desire. These guys aren't going to let us down. I mean, no matter how many plays they got to play, they know they got one more left in them, because it's about this family. It's about this team. It's about this town. They know we have something special, and this season isn't done. We're a long way from where we want to be. You know, I can think all the way back to our Saturday mornings, having one-on-ones with each and every senior, along with Ian, and talking to them about our goals and what we have to accomplish, and about desire, and about buying in, and about doing this. And it's just not for us. It's for everyone in this town. And again, the support here is absolutely phenomenal. And, you know, again, we're not letting anyone down.
Yeah, absolutely. So far, so good at that. Yeah, I'll ask you like 2 more questions here, and then we'll let you roll. So we talked about the defense a lot. Let's go back to offense, which is, your bread and butter, where we really are at here. Obviously, we talked about Valley, and we'll get to him more. I'll ask him some more questions about the pass game. But what has been working, and I don't think working is the right way to put it, what has been really on for you guys so far is that rushing attack. Big lineman up front, and Miller or Herb at the running back position, who I won't even mention the numbers until we get to him, because I think it doesn't do it justice unless I say it when he's here. But what has been working so far in the trenches?
Understanding. Our guys get it, and we're not a veteran line up front. We have 2 seniors playing. We have a freshman, a sophomore, and a junior. So it's understanding the scheme. We put a little window dressing out there, and it's about being hard-nosed. Again, we feed off of what our defense does. Mm-hmm. Past years, our offense, we kind of thought we had to outscore people, but this year our defense dictates to the offense what we're able to do. And it was like we did against reserve. The run game was there because we did very, very well up front. Our running game, our backs know exactly what's asked of them. But I'm going to tell you right now, we haven't played our best game on offense. There's no way. We were nowhere near what I thought we would be, and we're just going to keep getting better. And, now that the cat's kind of out of the bag and we do run a little bit of stack eye, brings another facet to our offense and something that we're really good at. We just haven't had to do it a lot yet. But we know that that's coming. And, with our expectations of being in the playoffs, you never know what weather's going to bring. And, I think we're able to get in that a little bit more. I think we're going to show another, again, dynamic facet of our offense that we just haven't had to use yet. But again, our run game, as you said, is there. Herb's having a great season back there. Valley's running the ball really well. We got to tighten some things up. But again, like I said, to start this off, our offense hasn't had our best game. We will get better. And again, when I can start feeding Rorman and Mason a little bit out of that stack eye, I think you guys are going to see a little bit more of a dynamic that we have.
Yeah, absolutely. And for not having your best game on offense, Herb's averaging 149 yards a game, and Valley is averaging 100 yards rushing a game as well at the quarterback position. So if we got our best game in store still, we're in pretty good shape.
I think so. I think those guys will agree. And again, I know, and all the coaches in this business know that you're only as good as your offensive line. And our line just keeps getting better and better. And we have great leadership by Ben and G up front, and our young guys are coming along with them. But again, the best game of our offense is still in front of us. I can't tell you when it's going to come, but when it does, it's going to be a real show.
Awesome. So the last thing I'll leave you with here, just, tell me, not me, but tell everybody here, what are the expectations for the rest of the season?
Well, when I got Coach Allen to come over, I'll never forget our meeting. It was right after the season, and I knew, we were going to make some changes. And his expectation when we talked was about trying to win the whole thing. You know what I mean? And I'll never doubt these guys of how far they want to go. And I do believe the sky's the limit. We got tough games in front of us. But again, I think if you don't sit here and say that we want to win them all, you're not doing it for the right reasons.
Absolutely.
And with this group here, I think that's our goal. Anyone that stands in front of us, you want to beat them. And, hopefully we keep that going this Friday, going to Jackson. But again, we have an overall, again, those meetings we have, their seniors want to win them all. Whoever we have to play, wherever we have to go, let's practice like crazy and try to win them all.
Absolutely. And I'll be on the call for every one of them, so we might as well win them all. Coach, thank you so much for coming on with us tonight.
Thank you.
All right, we have Tristan Valley coming up here next on YSN Live, quarterback of the Rams. We'll be back with you shortly.
So there you have an awesome interview by Jake Silac. You wouldn't believe that was his first one. You would not believe that was his first one. And he just, like the superstar in golf that he is, like we talked about with Brian Tonar earlier, he just knocked it right down the fairway. 300 yards, perfect, and set up another chip shot, which we will have next week on Wednesday at the Post Office Pub. Great food. Had the Valley Burger. It was awesome. And again, another plug for all of our sponsors of these live shows: Golden Dawn, Legends Food and Drink, Coco's Pizza, as well as help me out, Sam's Wedge Inn, Post Office Pub, and finally, last but not least, Hackett's, which you can go out to tonight. The Cheney Show will be out there with Steve Leslie and the crew. So get out there, make your presence felt. Hang on. There we go. Make your presence felt, and naturally order some great food and hang out and talk Cheney football. All that coming up tonight, the 7 o'clock hour out at Hackett's in Youngstown. Before we go, I want to catch up on some of these. I know that Uncle Bill is very sad that Richie is not on the show today. Richie's typically not here on Thursdays. He's right out there because of he forgot his charging cable. So he just stuck around for a little bit. But don't worry, Uncle Bill. Richie's going to be here tomorrow for the YSN Super Show right here on the network. All that being said, it's time for What's Your Spark, presented by Joe Dickey Electric. Here we go. What's Your Spark, presented by Joe Dickey Electric. Anything commercial, residential, anything electrical, head over to North Lima or right over on the web from the comfort of your own device at DickeyElectric.com. We thank Joe Dickey Electric and my good friend Eric Carlson for support of YSN throughout the years, and that baby ain't stopping anytime soon. So thank you again to all of the great folks over at Joe Dickey Electric. All right, so I gotta say it's kind of a negative spark. Fantasy football this week. I don't know if your team was anything like mine. What a trash week for fantasy football. Like nobody was good. And it was like you were the best of the worst. And that's how you got wins. And I came up, I got two teams. I came up empty on both of them. And I had Josh Allen. I was playing, who was the other quarterback I was playing? It was Denver's quarterback, Russell Wilson. He ended up with 1 point. But like, one guy goes off that never goes off. I had like Cam Akers, and it's 7 points, 11 points, I think. Guys that I just couldn't believe. I had the optimal. Now, you fantasy heads know, very rarely do you get the optimal lineup, right? That's, you have the most points of everybody on your roster. For the first time in my life, I hit optimal. And it wasn't nearly good enough to win a game. So at that point, you just kind of throw your hands up and you're like, well, I did the best I could. And then you start scouring the free agencies and the waiver wires. I was so disappointed. It was such a bad week. Good week of football to watch. Bad week of fantasy. My other team was Patrick Mahomes, and he had a very pedestrian-like week. And obviously, they came up short. So hopefully it's a better week for fantasy football. I love it. I do. I'm not like a junkie or anything, but I do enjoy it. It's fun for me and fun for everybody involved. And I got one league that's PPR and what is normal. I got another league that is touchdown based, which I really, really enjoy. I've been in for a very long time and not giving up anytime soon. I actually missed the draft. So well, you saw her earlier. Jessica Oates, she's actually on this in a commercial. She drafted my team while we were in Chicago. So thanks to Jessica. I am 1-2. But I take complete responsibility for it. She drafted a hell of a team. That's going to do it for our show today. Tune in tomorrow, the YSN Super Show here on the network. Again, thanks to all our sponsors. There you see them right down there. Joe Dickey Electric being one of them. Channel 21 tonight. You can check out the Ainsley Heating YSN preview on Channel 21 WFMJ. Myself and Dana Balish sit down. Man, I'm sorry. And we talk about Jackson Milton and Mineral Ridge. All that and more. And then tomorrow, of course, 28 games on the network. You can check out all the scores. YSNlive.com/scores right now. You can check them all out from beginning of the week up until tonight and then through the weekend. Thank you so much for checking in here today. We'll see you next time on the YSN Power Hour. YSN thanks you for watching.